I think we're live and recording.
Yes.
Well, cross your fingers, guys. This is all new to us. We're trying a new
Oh, wait,
platform.
no. It's counting down.
Oh.
What?
Well, my countdown, it says we're live and recording, so let's just kind of go with it.
Okay.
We're working out the kinks of a new platform called Crowdcast. We're trying this out. But we're going to record a podcast. This is the first time we've actually looked at each other while we're doing a podcast. Believe it or not, we usually do them remote. How's it going, guys?
It's going.
Great.
Medium.
We're all
No changes to my life whatsoever.
Exactly. Well, at least last week, I've been sheltering in place for, I think, at least over a week now. And as you guys saw yesterday, Washington Staters, that Jay Inslee basically issued a statewide decree. We have to stay in our homes. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I'm sorry. Are you, are both of your microphones working? Because I'm getting like an echo or like
I'm
a
getting
mic. Is anybody
for
hearing that?
everyone.
Oh, really?
And I'm also hearing myself,
Same.
which I don't want to do.
That's not good.
You sound like those little voice box things that you use to disguise
does?
your voice.
I do,
Everybody or just Mike?
Everybody
you.
sounds fine to me.
Everyone sounds like it to me.
Everyone sounds fine to me, but it sounds like Chris and Catherine are having issues with audio.
I suppose.
I don't, well, what I'm wondering here,
Let me see if
because I don't want to hear myself.
And you do have earbuds, so like the audio is not feeding back in, right? From the computer.
Okay, now that sounds better.
And Catherine's
But
been
Catherine's muted herself.
Oh, I had turned my mic off, but because I can hear myself and I don't.
Okay,
like it.
sorry. We can keep going.
We'll try
Oh.
this.
I have to change it to my.
Oh yeah,
USB.
can you change it? There is an ability to change your what mic you're using.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hey,
Yay?
That sounds better.
that sounds better. Wow.
Change
It sounds something.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're learning this as we go. So everyone sound okay, or we're no echoes?
Yeah.
I apologize, guys. This is kind of weird to try this new platform, but let's try and record a podcast if we can. Chris, I want to start with the first story. You wrote this last week about how your parents kept going out and grocery shopping, despite the fact they're in the higher risk bracket, being a little bit more older, and we have a worldwide pandemic going on. And so you did something. What did you do?
I ordered groceries for them. So it was, my parents are in their 70s. They're in their mid 70s. And, like a lot of parents, they have their routines. And that routine was driving me bonkers because it involved going to the grocery store in person, touching a bunch of stuff other people have touched. It was, and so they read the spoon. So they know all about, because they love their son. So they know all about grocery delivery. But they wouldn't do it. And so finally what I did was just get on Instacart, which isn't available in my neighborhood. I live in sort of a rural part of Washington, and just changed the address and had stuff delivered to them, and worked with the shopper. And, there were some outages at their store, but their local store had most of everything. And so I was able to put together a list for the shopper, and the shopper, I'm sure as anybody who's used Instacart knows, was able to say, hey, they're out of this. Can I swap it with this? She sent a picture of the bread aisle, which was empty. So I don't know if I've created a permanent change in behavior for my parents, but I'm hoping that they could see how easy it was, and they'll, do it again without my prompting or, doing it for them.
Did you give them any forewarning, or did a bunch of groceries just show up on their door?
Yep. They had like 4 bags to show up on there. Some stranger. No, I let them know. I just said, hey, I'm going to just do this for you. Can you just send me a list, text me a list, and I'll take care of it. And then you can see what it's like. And so the cool thing was that, they gave me updates as to when I was surprisingly able to get a delivery day. This was about a week ago, I think a week and a half, or I guess a week ago, where I was able to get like a delivery window that same day, which is really hard. I don't know if you guys have tried ordering groceries lately, but my Safeway is supposed to come tonight between 8 and 9 p.m. And I ordered that last Monday. You can't, and then there are no other delivery windows available through Safeway. They've had a really hard time, it seems like. And so, but I was able to get a window and then let them know like, hey, it's on their way, it's on its way. And then I was, and also I was able to, all these services are doing this now, this sort of contactless method. So I was able to say, just leave it on the front porch, ring the doorbell, and then be done with it. And so
it's ding dong ditch it it's ding dong ditch it with groceries.
Yeah.
So
Surprise, you have a ton of food to save yourself for the next
week. As they
meal.
don't set it on fire and you still have to stomp it out. Now, Jen, it sounds like you try to order online groceries and it's been hard because of all the surge in demand.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I tried to use Instacart. Let's see. I believe it was this past Friday. No, I'm sorry, last Wednesday. And they said, well, first of all, when I went on there, almost everything I wanted was out of stock. It was just blanked out on the screen with out of stock. And then once I'd sort of found second best choices, it was like every item I added to my cart pushed the delivery window further and further and further back, so that ordering on Wednesday, excuse me, they said, well, you'll get it, like Sunday at 9 p.m. or something. And then just because I like to tinker with things, I canceled the order after placing it because I wanted to see, well, if I did that, how much more time did I add to the window? Which at that point it was like, next Friday you can get your groceries. So at that point I just gave up and went to the store. Because I think the other thing is just, for me at least, it was, okay, I'm going to wait 5+ days to get groceries, and I don't even know if the things I put in my cart are going to be in stock then. Like, it could very well be that a can of black beans is going to be out of stock again. So, it just, I guess I wonder if, while online grocery is struggling to keep up with just the volume of orders, if it's going to be better for certain things as opposed to others. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, we're lucky because we're all young enough that we could probably go out. Although I'm reaching that age where I'm going to into the risky zone. But if you're like 70 or like Chris's parents' age and you have no one to rely on to order for you, you can't go out and there's like, they're pushing that availability out that long. That's actually a little bit scary.
Yeah, that's actually. Oh, go ahead, Catherine.
This morning, I went shopping for some groceries and tried to go to Whole Foods, which I knew was opening at 9, and wasn't able to get in for a while because they said from 7 to 9 was senior shopping only, which I know they aren't the only people doing that. But that's one option that people have, though I know they still have to be in the store interacting with other people who may or may not be contaminated with who knows, and they have to be touching things that other people have been touching. But even if you're getting your groceries delivered, other people are touching them as they deliver them to you. So
one thing that I've noticed, Mike, and I've done grocery delivery through Instacart for my parents, through Safeway, had the delay, and then went with Walmart, which is like the biggest retailer in the country, right? And is known for sort of its supply chain and, a really finely tuned retail machine. And I'm able to get, at my local one, I'm able to get like a pickup the next day, so I can do drive up and they'll put it in my car, which was fine. But the problem that I had was this sort of inventory management. And I'm going to put problem in quotes, right? Like, I understand there's a lot going on. But I thought Walmart in particular, their inventory management system would be a little more robust because it let me order everything. It said it had everything. And then like a couple hours before I went to pick it up, it was like, oh, just kidding. We don't have any of this stuff. And we made these substitutions. And are you okay with this? And all this other stuff, these staples that you wanted, you can't have them. Which I just thought was really weird because either just give me the error at the time of checkout or reserve it so that, and I'm not hoarding, right? And they even limited the amount of things you could buy, but it was just like, either reserve it so that I can come pick it up the next day, or just tell me that it's out if you want to do something else. It was a bit curious and frustrating.
I mean, even Amazon and Walmart are like the kings of like supply chain logistics. Amazon has I think they put the memo out last week that to put all other non-essentials on the backlog and fill their warehouses with all essentials like food and toilet papers. I've tried to order a couple things from Amazon like this past week as I needed to upgrade my sound system. I need a new mixer board.
Priority.
I need an amplifier for this mic.
Quadraphonic stereo sound.
And like it's all like a month out. Like I think every non-essential item, if like you're ordering a lot of this stuff, like they're like saying, okay, you get at the back of the line at this point. So
Fair enough.
So
yeah. Well, I mean, for me at this point, it's managing the pipeline, right? It is. I don't need stuff right now, but what do I need 2 weeks from now? And trying to just anticipate that as best I can. I still can't find toilet paper and paper towels pretty much anywhere.
I think so we've had a story on the Spoon about how Instacart's hiring, I think, was it 100,000? 300,000. And I've seen this story of other grocery and food oriented online operations just surging in hiring. We've also seen some stories about grocery stores actually picking up and hiring laid off restaurant workers. So it seems like there's this great fluidity around labor where some of the folks who are in high demand scenarios right now because of coronavirus are trying to up their amount of employees and maybe repositioning some of the people who were previously in restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, you have Instacart hiring 300,000 people across the country over the next 3 months. Walmart is, I think, adding 150,000. Amazon is adding 100,000. Kroger is adding 10,000. Like all these retail outlets are adding a ton.
Pizza too. Domino's is adding 10,000. Papa John's announced yesterday it's adding 20,000.
Pizza.
So I mean, pizza. But it's getting them onboarded and getting them into the system and getting them to work. Yeah.
So like you still need. We haven't quite moved to the fully roboticized like warehouses at this point. It sounds like you still need a lot of people in the system, and it's great that actually the grocery stores are stepping up and kind of hiring some of these folks who are being either laid off or not at work or being furloughed in the restaurant space. I think that's interesting. Another interesting thing that we're all experiencing is that I think the ever shifting product shortages. Everyone first saw, and I saw yesterday that like toilet paper initially about 2 weeks ago just started missing from shelves. It was hard to get. Costco didn't have any. And as of today, like I'm hearing Costco's stocked up, and I was at the grocery store and it's full. But Catherine, you were at the grocery store today. I think it was the Go grocery store on Capitol Hill, and it seems as if people are shifting into home baking mode in this long kind of stay-at-home phase. Flour is starting to miss from the store shelves.
Well, that's been the case for a couple days. Yeah, I did a little like grocery walkabout today. Went to Whole Foods and Amazon Go Grocery, which is really cool. First time seeing that. But I've been looking for.
Can we pause real quick? Well, and I'll edit this out. And everyone that's listening live, this is behind the curtain. Catherine, can you wear your headphones? Because I am getting that echo, and I don't know if
I'm getting the echo too. I can't figure out why.
Even with the headphones plugged in
on your laptop.
How is that better?
How are you listening to us before?
Just on my laptop.
That's better because we're not getting that echo. I think if you're getting your audio through your headphones, it's not feeding back into the microphone. So I think.
Okay, got it. Sorry, it's just either way. I hear myself really loud, so it's weird.
So yeah, I'll edit that part out. But if you want to kind of just go repeat what you said,
I will go back. Yes, so I've been baking, as I think many people have. We have a lot more time. People are at home. And so we're tackling these baking projects that take a lot of time. Sorry, this is really hard. I can hear myself like 1 second off.
Oh.
No one else is having that issue?
No.
On your laptop on?
What?
So mute your audio. So you keep your headphones plugged in.
Yeah.
And then just take off your headphones. What you don't want to have is the speaker from your laptop. Yeah. So just while you're talking. I can't hear
you guys.
You don't need to because you're talking.
Oh, okay. Like that. So let's go like this, like a real radio DJ. DJ. Okay, sorry, Mike. I will start from the beginning.
That's okay.
Okay. So a lot of people have been baking, obviously, because of being able to be at home around their kitchens. They have a lot more time. And I am also one of those people. I've got a sourdough starter from a friend, and I've been making sourdough bread, made my first batch, and I was so proud. And then I wanted to go back and do another. And for days and days, I've not been able to find any flour of any type anywhere. So today I got to Whole Foods right as it opened. As I said, they were closed doing the senior shopping, went in, they had like one bag of flour, and I got it. And then also went to Amazon Go grocery, which had a couple bags of all purpose. And I got one of those too. Sorry, I was stocking up, but
You're
just
hoarding.
one in each place. So I'm not being too selfish. But yeah, definitely flour. And I think that makes a lot of sense. People are, as I said, taking the time to make these more intensive baking projects, just because why not? What else are people doing? In addition to all the shelf stable stuff like beans, like pasta, like I don't know what else is gone. Obviously, Amazon Go grocery had toilet paper.
Yeah, I think the toilet paper is appearing back on store shelves. Chris, have you done any baking while you've been like stuck at home?
No.
Jen?
No, that's really weird. No, I haven't taken up a new hobby. It's honestly just like, what can I do? What can I do to keep what I have going? Right. Like, and honestly, like, it's a really good privilege check, because my day-to-day life has not been, what I'm eating has not been interrupted that much. Like, I am trying to give money to shelters and worker relief funds and all of those things, keeping in mind that I am very lucky to be in this way. But like, my biggest issue is making sure that I have enough avocados running through the house at any given time. Right. And that's certainly coming from a place of privilege. We are cooking. What we're trying to do is still order from restaurants occasionally, like once a week at least. Yeah. To get restaurant orders in, just to keep our local restaurants going as best we can. We're tipping anybody who's coming to the house generously. We're trying to do those kinds of things. And we're also just, cooking more in general. We're making a lot more brownies for sure. Because that's something that my 9-year-old can do with us. But I haven't, it's funny. You're like, oh, in Washington, we got put on a shelter in place. We've been doing it for a week anyway, and a half or whatever. And I have all these grand ideas, like I'm going to use this extra time to read all the books of The Expanse, because they're all 1,000 pages each. And then I'm just like, it gets to be 8 o'clock, and I'm just like, well, I spent all day indoors. I'm just going to go to bed.
My wife keeps coming up with like projects. Let's clean the garage. I'm like, oh, how long is this thing going to last?
Your house is going to be spotless.
Yeah, no more honeydews. So this idea of the restaurants trying to react and kind of figure out how to survive. We talked about this a little bit, I think, on our editorial call yesterday around COVID. Jen, I think we're seeing a lot of restaurants offering essentially coupons or dining bonds, what they're calling dining bonds, to kind of allow people to buy food from them in advance, or buy essentially gift cards from them in advance, so they have cash flow. But we started to talk about the viability of that long term and how long that can last. And also, if these restaurants go out of business, if this thing lasts for a long time, like that becomes an interesting conversation as well. Like, what are you seeing there?
I mean, I don't want to say don't buy gift cards or don't buy dining bonds, because I think every little bit helps. And I applaud the groups and the companies and the restaurants that are coming together with some of these websites that are a place you can purchase dining bonds and gift cards from restaurants. That being said, I think it's going to take much bigger changes, i.e. a bailout probably, to save a lot of the hospitality industry. And, I think the other issue with the gift card thing, from the customer's perspective, is I've had restaurants tell me, well, we don't expect to open the dining room at least, end of May earliest to be back in full service operations. So if I buy a gift card, I have to order delivery, probably. I don't know if those gift cards are compatible with DoorDash, with Postmates. And even if I have them, and I have just, partially to support restaurants and partially just because it's my job to test these things. I have been ordering a lot of takeout and delivery lately. And those delivery fees are still, I mean, I paid like $15 in service fees for a pizza the other night. It was like a $40 pizza.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, that's like, you know, with recession and with just a lot of economic uncertainty, a lot of job uncertainty for so many people, just the delivery may not necessarily be something tons and tons and tons of people are going to want to flock to, even with gift cards. So
the third-party services are kind of what's the big cost layer on a lot of that. And even though they've talked about trying to help out, like they're still charging these for a lot of people exorbitant fees.
Yeah, I mean, would you like this podcast to turn into a rant?
We can direct people to your rant online if we want.
I mean, it was Grubhub CEO had an interview with Market Watch the other day where he said something to the, I mean, I don't want to misquote him, but I believe it was something like 30% of restaurants are just going to be incredibly harmed by all this or go under. And it's like, well, hello, dude, like stop charging them 30% commission fees to do business with you. A number of the restaurants I've spoken to on the phone over the last few days say delivery doesn't really make us a dime, but we also can't go to battle with these delivery companies right now because as painful as they are, they're less painful than a local chain trying to set up its own delivery infrastructure. Takeout is another option, get customers to order ahead and takeout. But again, you know, we don't know how long takeout's going to be in place. McDonald's is shutting down all its restaurants in the UK. Starbucks ended takeout service here in the US. So it's only drive-through and delivery. So, you know, depending on how just bigger regulations go, takeout may not be an option within a couple of days.
I wonder about some of these guys going native delivery in that if you rely on an Uber Eats or a DoorDash, why not go the route that a lot of Chinese food and a lot of pizza companies have gone, at least especially for mom and pop, and just have your own guys start delivery? That's certainly what Eric Rivera has started to do. He has a food van that he's used to basically haul stuff around for catering. They're using that to start deliver food. So I'm wondering if you're going to start to see some of these mom and pops actually start just delivering their own food.
Yeah, I mean, you could redistribute your workforce, maybe turn former servers into delivery folks who could take the food out. I think that one of the issues and one of the reasons a lot of people go with the third-party services is it's built-in marketing. It's, in fact, Alex Cantor from Cantor's Deli was telling me last week, he said, look, if you're on these platforms, you're more noticeable than you would be if you were off, like hands down. So, but I do, we were seeing like these sort of combo hybrid deliveries. We'll use third-party platforms for some stuff, but maybe not for the last mile. Like we were already seeing that. And I think that that's something that I think you're on the money, Mike. I think people will start to talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah. And a lot of the digital marketing platforms have essentially been these third-party ordering apps. But what I think we're seeing start spring up is what in part because of what's happening with COVID is these just online order apps where people disintermediate the delivery company and just allow people to order directly. And so we've seen a few of those. I think Lunchbox is maybe one of those. There's a few others where basically you can set up online ordering. And then if you choose to deliver yourself, and then you can do that.
Yeah. Well, Panera is a big one. If we want to sort of take a lesson from a big company's playbook, they have always done their own delivery, and that now they are available on those third-party apps, but they are still in charge of most of their delivery. It's for them, it's sort of like a little bit of an added bonus, I guess, to be on those platforms, but it's not powering their entire operation.
What I see these
In the
local-
Washington State stay-at-home place is Governor Inslee made a point of saying restaurants were like essential businesses, right? So he actually said, non-essential businesses need to close down, but we want restaurants to stay open. So you can, I don't know, it's just an interesting factor as we wade through all of this.
Yeah, I see the local smaller restaurants that I walk past all the time, really trying to make a point that they're open for takeout only, like putting signs up and really leveraging social media, especially Instagram, which a lot of people follow anyway. If they want to get like specials or something, it'd be like, please come in. We are open. We need you, please. So things like that, just really doing their own like guerrilla marketing if they're trying to be more self-sufficient and not rely as much on, say, DoorDash, or don't have the money to do so, is one tack people are taking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, I had a podcast this week with Eric Rivera, he's a lot more nimble than I think traditional small restaurateurs.
Oh, yeah.
He's all about innovation, but he's been doing all sorts of things, such as creating little pop-up areas, basically becoming like a grocery store. He's also offering online food cooking classes, which I thought was interesting. I think, Catherine, you've been looking a little bit at that as well. Like, are we seeing like the growth of like Instagram, like online cooking experiences? Like, is that kind of popping online?
Yeah, I think so. We wrote something, let me double check. I think it was Delish, which is like a recipe website that began offering cooking classes, live cooking classes for parents and kids that are at home. And that's a cool idea. Also seeing, I know like Sean Brock, who's very well known, is doing some cooking classes online that you can pay for. I've also seen some chefs pivoting to do things like catering for the future, sort of like a gift card, but like Hugh Atchison, who does a lot of restaurants in Atlanta and is pretty well known. He is asking people to sign a contract. So basically you're guaranteed to get something, paying in advance for him to come and do home catering, which is like a pretty good get. He's very well known like on TV and stuff. So people are trying to leverage get out there in any way they can, whether it's a promise to physically do something in the future or do a lot of stuff via Instagram Live and other platforms, trying to just like stay alive in any way possible.
That's what it's all about. And there are some companies that are staying alive and actually maybe even flourishing that we followed in our traditional areas. I followed a lot in the kitchen side. I saw just yesterday that Tovala is actually struggling to keep up with their orders for their online food delivery side. They actually have had to kind of adjust the menu a little bit. I think we've seen a spike for some meal kit companies. And I think, Catherine, you wondered aloud with one of your recent articles whether or not this maybe could be coronavirus could actually help some meal kit companies come back. Do you think that's true?
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert, I don't think so, really. Read the article if you want, but also yes, I talked to some meal kit companies like Purple Carrot, Blue Apron, others that are saying they are seeing a big uptick in orders, which they're saying is because people don't want to go out and grocery shop. They want to cook, but maybe they're not as confident cooking, especially if they can't guarantee that they'll be getting these certain ingredients that they want for recipes. So having something that's sort of a halfway between ordering delivery and cooking themselves is a really nice stepping stone. So meal kits have been seeing a lot of customers. The question is, once we go back to normal, if we do, will they stay around? Like,
right. That's the big question, the permanency of the shift.
Yeah.
Chris, do you think like some of this behavior will stick? I mean, I think we had a guest post yesterday from one of the guys, Hala, the CTO of Hala, asking whether or not this big and online grocery buying will stick. I'm wondering how much of this behavior change will stick.
Mm-hmm. And my guess
it's
is
a big sort of existential question for everyone, right? Like, and yes, a pandemic is forcing people to try e-commerce probably sooner than they would have normally. But if they find it easy, I mean, it's going to be a couple of things, right? Like one, these delays may dry them away and they'd be like, oh, is this what this is like? But they could find the experience easy enough, or like in the case of a Walmart pickup, despite my issues with the inventory, it was an easy thing to do. And I left the house for a half hour to go get it and come back. And it was easy peasy and would do again.
Mm-hmm.
But this is bigger, right? Like it's in the way, who's going to go to, what's it going to be like going to crowded bars over the next year, or, hugging people or shaking hands? Like everything is just so different. And what I think it's really important to note, as editor of the Spoon, that we're kind of changing things up as well here. Like we're trying to adapt. I mean, Mike, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how how the Spoon and Smart Kitchen Summit is adapting, and in the face of all of this.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to exercise our muscles around doing online events. We had, for lack of a better word, a webinar last week on this idea of cloud kitchens, but we are actually trying to do an online event for our COVID-19, called the COVID-19 Virtual Summit, basically to try and bring people together online and come up with strategies for dealing with all this. And so we want to help out. I think, Chris, you wrote a post last week basically saying we're trying to figure out how to help people. And one of the things we think we can do is maybe convene people online and bring experts together. So we're like everyone, we're trying to figure it out. While we're trying to like bring the news, we're also trying to figure out our own business going forward. So I mean, and I think this may ultimately, there's actually a lot of speculation whether or not people will get together as much or travel as much business wise. And I wonder if some of this change will be permanent. So one of the things we're trying to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, we're all trying to adapt. We just at the Spoon just want to be of use to people. We really want to help them navigate the news, provide information that is actionable for them to figure out how to navigate their business if they're in the food tech world. And we want to hear from people like, how are you doing it? What are you doing? What have you changed up? If you run a restaurant or a software company or a restaurant tech company or something, let us know how you're adapting and what you're doing. These are really interesting questions and for all the wrong reasons, interesting times.
Or what you need, like one of the questions that Jen and I have been, well, all of us, but we're going to be writing about is like how a lot of people are like, here's how you can support your restaurants. You can buy gift cards. You can do takeout. You can donate to these relief organizations. And it's like, okay, but say I'm a person with a limited budget, which we all are, and I don't eat out that often anyway. Like where can my dollars be put to the best use? So talking to different people to hear their opinions on that and try to figure out, like, as a restaurant or a bar, what do you actually need the most? What would be the most helpful?
I think that.
Well, and I think it's also. Oh, I'm sorry, Jen.
Oh, I was just going to say I'll echo that with a focus on tech. I mean, I think, and this is not to depreciate anybody's efforts, because the rally the food tech community has made in response to a lot of this is inspiring, truly.
Yes.
That being said, I think in terms of like all the different tech solutions being pushed and free installations and waived fees and things like that, it's a lot. And I think businesses, restaurants, bars, maybe even grocery stores a little bit need to really think about what they need in terms of a tech stack. They're going to get a lot of stuff thrown at them. Not all of it's going to be beneficial. Some of it will be greatly beneficial. And I think it's about helping folks find the solutions that are going to work for their business, kind of cut through the noise, if you will.
Yes. Well, and I think it's important for people who read the Spoon to know that we aren't pivoting to become the COVID site. Right. But obviously it is the global story right now, and it is having a big impact up and down the food stack. So that will be driving a lot of our coverage. But we were always looking for innovation, no matter, not related to the COVID at all. We'll still be operating that. But,
I think
together we can get through this.
Of interest is like how innovation in food tech is helping us solve some of the current problems. Like, I think those are the stories we really want to tell. And also we're going to continue to write about, I actually have 3 or 4 stories that I've interviewed people for that are about new products. I just haven't written yet because we've all been so busy. So I think some of those stories will keep coming as well. So, but that's really it for today. I want to thank you guys for trying this new platform. We got some glitches to work out. But it's been a lot of fun seeing your guys' faces as we talk. And for those of you who are listening, I encourage you to go to thespoon.tech and check out, look for the COVID Summit and sign up for that. That's April 6th. It's a day-long event, and that'll be a lot of fun. At least it'll be interesting hearing from people who are really smart about doing interesting things out there to try and solve for our new world we're traversing. So, but thanks guys for getting together. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Good to see you.
Good to see you. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Right.